Yo, what's up, friends? Welcome back to the local podcast. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Greensburg Video. That's my video and photography company located right here on Main Street in Greensburg. If you and your company are up for some fresh ideas and some engaging content, look no further than Greensburg Video. You can check out my work at gbgvideo.net or greensburgvideo.com. My portfolio is growing daily, so you can check that out. Shoot me a message, and we'll figure out a strategy for you. Speaking of advertising, you can do that for your business right here on the local podcast. If you're interested in that, hit me up at thelocal724.com. All right, today on the podcast, my favorite co-host in the entire world is sitting in with me and helping out. That's my little wifey, Jess. And today we're talking with Stefanie and Sam from empowerHER. It's an amazing organization that helps young women deal with the loss of their mother. And I can't imagine anything in my entire life that would sting that bad. So it is truly amazing what these women do. Although the topic of today's podcast is quite sad, the content of it is very positive and very uplifting, and I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. So let's do it. Welcome to the Local 724 podcast in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Local podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Hauser. Today with us, we have Stefanie and Sam from empowerHER. I feel like on this podcast, we point the locals into a direction of things that are really awesome and what this area has to offer. And this is one of the coolest things that I've heard of. My wife, Jessie, is also here to help with the show. And that's about that. Everyone say hi.
Hello. Hey.
Hi.
Hi. So, first off, I just wanted to ask if you guys could explain to me exactly what empowerHER is.
Yes. Hi. And thanks again for having us on today. I really appreciate it. So like you said, my name is Sam and I work for empowerHER, although I was a volunteer for 7 years before coming on staff. So empowerHER was founded in 2013 by a woman named Cara Belvin. Cara is from Scituate, Massachusetts, and she when she was growing up, she lost her mom to breast cancer when she was 9 years old, and she had a lot of support with her family and friends in the community. However, she'd never met another girl that also had experienced her loss, and in empowerHER, we kind of use the term that you feel like an alien on a different planet. And I too lost my mom when I was about a week away from going to college. I lost her to a long battle with multiple sclerosis. So you do feel like an alien on another planet. There's, you're dying to meet someone else that can relate to your loss. And that's where she kind of had the idea about a little over 8 years ago about starting empowerHER and to bring teenage girls to a hotel on Mother's Day. That was her simple idea. She was a working mom and busy, but she's like, I'll just do this in my free time. And so for the first event we had was our Mother's Day retreat, and it was in downtown Boston. And we brought 7 girls together because, believe it or not, girls who have lost their moms are not really self-identifying. So they're not, jumping at the chance to say, yes, I want to be a part of this club. So, we were going around knocking on guidance counselors' doors, pediatricians, therapists, and trying to get the word out about empowerHER. But we did get to meet 7 brave girls that decided to come who had never met each other before. They didn't know each other, and they had a sleepover. We had yoga and cooking and nutrition and skincare, learning about breakouts and educational, tutorials, arguably of things that your mother would teach you or be there to help you with. So with putting braids in your hair or teaching you how to do a blowout. And so we had a really, really impactful weekend. And after the weekend was over, the girls were texting us saying, when can we get back together? When can we see each other again? And like I said before, Cara had only, imagine this would be once a year on Mother's Day weekend where the girls would go away to give something to look forward to. And so we kind of, as volunteers, looked around and said, okay, well, let's plan a beach bash. Let's get the girls together and have a little beach party. So they learn how to, surf. And empowerHER is volunteer driven. It's grassroots. It's really community based. It's all about creating a community where you can look around and know that you can relate to someone that has also experienced the same kind of loss. Of course, everyone's story is different, but you still know that they've experienced the same kind of loss. And so that kind of evolved into 6 events a year, and it was all in person. It was only in Boston or the Boston area. So after a couple of years of, seeing enrollment increase by 100% each year, the second year we had 15 girls that came to our Mother's Day retreat, then 30 as word started to kind of get out. We decided that we didn't just want to do events. We also wanted to create a mentor program. So we started a mentor program, worked with some local organizations, kind of modeled the Big Brothers, Big Sisters way, because they're a very reputable 100-year organization. So we created this policies and procedures manual and started to match girls in person with adult women who have also experienced the loss of their mother. And this shows the girls that loss is survivable, because this adult woman had also experienced that loss and had overcome it, and just is there for a support for the girls. And so fast forward, we've had our mentor program. We are doing events throughout the year. We decided that we were going to start a chapter expansion. So we wanted to go outside of Massachusetts. We went into Connecticut and ultimately created the New England chapter. So in Connecticut and New Hampshire and Vermont, we had girls in that area. The next spot on the list was Southern California. So we had a party, a cocktail party that raised about $140,000 last year, right before COVID hit. And we said we were, went on our founder went on CNN Live right during the Kobe Bryant Memorial, announcing that we were opening our chapter. And then, we all know the world kind of turned upside down in March. So that was super, disappointing and disheartening. I mean, a lot of organizations obviously have had hardships through COVID, but for us and the girls, it's further isolating. So they, already felt isolated with the loss of their mother, and then now even further isolated. So they can't, see anyone or be in person. We told our mentors, no one knew what COVID was and what was going on. So we said, better be safe than sorry. Don't meet each other in person. Stay home. So through that, we actually had to do our retreat, our Mother's Day retreat. We had to flip the switch and do it virtually, which was not ideal for us. But that kind of pushed us to the point where we are today. We looked around and we said, we're doing this virtual. There were girls from 26 out of the 50 states that came onto our virtual Mother's Day retreat. We had 12 countries represented as well. So we said we were going to green light the whole country. So now, today, we're making mentor matches across state lines. We are doing virtual events where anyone, anywhere can join us for things like cooking classes or yoga. Again, just events that create community and show the girls that they're not alone in their grief. So that's the story of empowerHER and kind of how it evolved and where we are today.
That's fantastic. That's
Thank you.
That's one of the most noble causes I've ever heard of in my life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So
I obviously very passionate about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, how couldn't you be? It's so along with the volunteers and stuff, you used to be a volunteer, and here in studio we have Stefanie, I'm sorry, who is a volunteer. Can you talk about that? What do you do? What do you do for the organization?
Yeah, so I am the chairperson of the Pittsburgh Luminaria event, which I'll get into Luminaria shortly, but I thought I would share why I decided to do this, because Sam and I have been best friends since college, and like she said, she lost her mom just a week before going to college, and I couldn't imagine being in that position, and I never, unfortunately, got to meet her mother, but knowing Sam and the person that she is it was remarkable that she is who she is, and it almost immediately after losing her mom, she is the kindest and the one that's always there to help everybody out. So I decided I would like to give back, to the community, but also to give back to the friendship that Sam has given myself and the rest of our best friends for, oh my gosh, how long has it been, Sam? Like 15 years now since we started college.
Yes.
more than that. But so, I actually never even realized that it kind of evolved this way, but the founder, Kara, we were talking to her and she was like, well, you guys kind of started empowerHER like back in the day in college before it was even there because, she said myself and the rest of our friends were there to support Sam in all of the big moments in life and the tough times in life. I turned to my mom for everything and I'm very fortunate to still have her, but there are young girls like Sam was and adult women that don't have their mom, even in times today, I'm like, oh, I call my mom for everything. So, for Sam to have that support system through college and years after is, really important to me as well. So that's kind of how I got involved.
Yeah. That's so wild. I mean, I personally, my mom, thank God, is still here. I couldn't imagine doing a thing like going to college. That's such a humongous step of your life. And to not have that support system there during that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would tear me up. I don't know.
Yeah. And terrible. So many different, events, even in college, we were in a sorority together. That's how we met. And, I just always think of our philanthropy in our sorority was a gala that it was, for women's health, heart health. And so you would invite your mom or like women in your life and just thinking about, times like that when Sam didn't have her mom or, other girls too. It was just, I was always like, Mom, we're bringing Sam along, Sam loves my mom. I mean,
I'm so fortunate to have such great friends, but also even better, such great friends who have amazing mothers too, that just kind of take you in. And that's what, Steph was talking about, Kara saying that they, she and our other friends, founded empowerHER because it's all about community, just showing support and just showing up for the girl that lost her mom and being there for her.
Yeah.
And that's what my friends did.
That's amazing. I mean, the very first event that you guys had, how did that go? I mean, it's, seven girls, you said?
Yes.
So, I mean, like, how was that? Just like, the beginnings of all of this.
It was so emotional. I was a nervous wreck because I tell the girls all the time, even to this day, I say, my 17-year-old self, like, I don't know if I would have been brave enough to go and meet other people. I'm right now, my 34-year-old self says I would have loved that. I know I needed that. But when you're a teenager, you're kind of like, oh, I'm fine and all of that. But they were so brave to come to this event and meet other girls. And it was like magic. I can't even explain kind of what the feeling was like. We put it together and we're popping pimples with estheticians, like learning how to do that. We were teaching the girls little dances or cooking and nutrition and getting their hair and makeup done, and doing a sunrise yoga on Mother's Day. And it was pure magic. And the girls immediately were magnetic to each other. They were very open and sharing about their experiences and were like pretty much joined at the hip the entire weekend. And afterwards they text each other all the time. And that's why they told us, like, we need more. We want more than just the retreat. Like, we want to see each other more often with events. So yeah, it was pure magic. I was a nervous wreck, but being with those girls and feeling their bravery and the vibe, so to say, in the room, it was just amazing.
How how do you reach out to girls now? Do you still do like counselors and therapists, or how do you get the word out for young girls? Like
that is the question of the century for us. Right. But we didn't really have a whole lot of luck. We do have some amazing, guidance counselors that do still send referrals, but really for word of mouth. Right. And so, in the Boston area, we got some press, like a podcast like this, or we get into the Scituate town newspaper, and, because really aunts, mom's best friend, grandmothers, dad's sister, those are the ones that are enrolling the girls. It's typically not the girl herself, and it's not the dad, because the dad is in a puddle in his own grief and a lot of times can't even begin to think about that for his daughter. And so it's really, a lot of the women that rally around the family that are the ones that get the girls enrolled. But yeah, it's really local media in the community itself spreading the word. It's how we have been so fortunate to be able to get girls to enroll. But when Steph goes into Luminaria, this is kind of our next effort of spreading awareness and getting exposure, all over the country, and in different, I hate to use the word market, but in different markets, to get capture the attention of the girl. And of course, social media, we're on social media, Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all of that. But yeah, it's really just local community podcasts, newspapers, TV segments that gets the word around for us.
Have you guys ever considered partnering with healthcare systems or hospices or anything like that to kind of because sometimes people that are enrolled in those programs have younger children. And I think this support and grief groups are amazing. I think they're so helpful, and this probably isn't even a thought for a bereavement counselor or something like that.
No, definitely. That's such a great point. And I do also want to say that we are non-therapeutic, and there are so many great organizations and that are out there that provide that kind of support. And we are so thankful for those organizations too, but we're definitely non-therapeutic. We're all about the community part. And so, we have talked to hospices and hospitals before. The tricky thing is they never having that conversation with dad or the guardian is always tricky and tough.
Right.
Because you don't want to make it seem like the dad is not doing a good enough job. You don't want to, pressure him right after, mom has passed or while she's in hospice care. And it's an awkward conversation. Now we try to get the hospice workers to help make introductions with us. And we have gone into, women's homes, when they've been in hospice or in hospice centers and met with them before they passed and had their girls enrolled. But that's usually by, friend referrals. They've heard about us from one of their friends, and so they invite us in. But it's a tough topic for a lot of medical professionals, oddly enough, to kind of bring up with the guardian or the father.
Yeah. I just think it's such an amazing program.
Oh yeah.
That 100%. So many people could benefit from it.
It's almost like you don't think about somebody needing this until you know it's there, until you've heard of the organization. You're like, wow, these girls can really benefit from this. But I mean, especially if you're someone who hasn't gone through it, and like Sam said, the fathers and the family is, grieving, and it's probably not the number one thing they're thinking of, which is understandable. But once you know it's there, it's almost, not even a question. It's only good can come from it.
Absolutely.
What age group do you guys see is the most prevalent?
So really we have a wide range. So we serve girls through age 24. So when we first started, we only served teenage girls, 14 to 18, because we're like, okay, if they're in high school, then that's okay for them to have a sleepover. But then we quickly evolved into serving, girls under that age. And then also, children's bereavement, technically, statistics and studies have shown that child bereavement really ends at age 24. So that's when we evolved our mission to include girls up to age 24. But we have a very wide range. We have a lot of little girls that are between the ages of 6 and 10. I would say the majority of our girls are in that, like, later elementary to middle school age. So probably like 10 to 16 or so.
Yeah.
I guess when you want to get into high school. And then we have quite a bit in our, what we call our legacy group, which is our 19 to 24 year olds too. Okay. So it's pretty spread out.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that probably the 10 to 16 year olds, that's a pretty heavy developmental stage.
Sure.
In somebody's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's got to be just amazing for them that they have like a support system like you guys.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I say it all the time, like, where was this all my life? I wish I had it when I was younger. But that's why, I'm doing this work now, is because I know how much it would have benefited me growing up, and I see the impacts every day in my work and with the girls and all of that. Like, just actually yesterday we were filming for our Mother's Day retreat, and we filmed with one of the top chef contestants for this season in a kitchen in Houston, Texas, and it was one of our virtual matches. So a 30-year-old in LA is matched with a 17-year-old in Dallas, and they got to meet for the first time during this, session for cooking pasta together. And it was just, they were, FaceTiming me and sending me pictures, and it's just so amazing to see, because you can just see that impact, and it's so awesome.
Yeah. That's got to be just one of the most valuable relationships that either one of them could have for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How does one become a volunteer? Or how does one become a volunteer? Sorry, I wasn't talking in my mic.
No, you're fine. Yeah, you can go right to our website and go to our Get Involved page. And there's a ton of ways to get involved. Also can reach out to me directly as well, because I manage most of the volunteers. But going to our website is the first bet, which is www.empowerHER.org. And that's how you can kind of sign up. There's some forms to fill out. And then I get back to everyone who fills out those forms and figures out where the best place is to be to volunteer.
Wow. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really wanted to kind of get into the major differences, and we did talk about this, but the major differences between the two services, like the events and then the mentorship. Like,
yeah,
what's the frequency of, the mentorship versus the events? I mean, you're going a couple times a year versus how much with the mentorship?
Yep. So, the events are about 6 times a year that we put on. But then organically within the community, a lot of the times girls will get together, or volunteers or mentors will like plan like an apple picking or something that's not necessarily, put on by EmpowerHER, but it just kind of happened organically. But then the mentor program, it's year round. It could be every day, every week, every month. We like to say that it's up to the preferences of the family and the girl and the mentor of, how often they're connecting. They could be talking, texting, seeing each other every day, once a week, or like Taylor and Kelsey, who are the two match that met up in Houston yesterday. They do, since they're virtual, they get on once a month and they have like a paint night. Or last month they built terrariums together. So it's really, like we like to say, you take what you want and leave the rest. And so the mentor program, a lot of times the girls and the mentors, they are talking multiple times a week, or getting together like a regular schedule. Like every Thursday, the mentor might pick the girl up from school, or meet at the park, or go get froyo, or whatever have you. And there's, ebbs and flows, especially when milestones come around. Those are really impactful when the mentor is able to be there to offer support for graduations or proms, or, those things where you wish that you had your mom there for. And so the mentor program is definitely the heart of our mission, and the most impactful in our eyes.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask Stephanie, like, what is it like for you? I mean, we just heard about kind of what it's kind of like. So why don't you tell us, like, what is your favorite part about being this volunteer and doing this?
Yeah. So this is, coming up. The Luminaria event that's coming up, is kind of the first thing that I've gotten involved in.
Okay.
With the organization. 'Cause I guess I didn't know that there were things to do for women and girls who haven't lost their moms. So this was kind of a way for me to get involved, having not had that experience. So, you know, Sam and I are really good friends, so we talk all the time, and we, friends talk about work and what's going on. And so, when I heard that they were looking to expand the Luminaria event this year to 10 different cities, I volunteered to bring it to Pittsburgh. So that's kind of, the first step of me getting involved. And then I would say one of my favorite parts of it so far is working with my committee, which are all of mine and Sam's friends from college. I rallied the troops and I said, let's do this for Sam and for the girls, and make it great, So we talk like more than we did before this event, because I have meetings once a week or once every couple of weeks, so we get to Zoom and see each other's faces, which is really nice. And then another thing is just kind of going out in the community and meeting people and talking about it. In our promoting efforts, for the event, we've kind of discovered that people want to talk to you about it. They will see things on social media or whatever it is, but they want to hear what your story is and what your connection is. And even hearing my connection to Sam and to the organization touches people. But then also they tell you, oh, I know, somebody who would really benefit from this. And hearing that is just like, that's the goal in all of it, is to get the word out about the organization. And a couple weeks ago, one of my friends on my committee and I were just walking around, the strip district, handing out flowers that we attached. Did you? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So we just attached a little bit of information, like to a flower, just like giving out free flowers. And we came across this one woman who was sitting with like I think it was her husband and her young daughter. And she happened to be a principal at a school. And she said, oh, I can think about, several girls who would benefit from this. So that's kind of like,
it's amazing.
Yeah. The reward in all of it. It's like, we're doing this and we want it to be a successful event, but if it reaches one girl and changes her life, then that's enough,
Succeeded.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Sam, did you, have you had any experience with, being a mentor, or have you been kind of in that realm, had that responsibility?
Yes, actually, I was one of the very first mentors at empowerHER. So one of the girls that was one of the first girls that came to our retreat in our event. And she was at the time she was 17, and she had lost her mother to breast cancer. And so when we were at the retreat, we just really bonded. And then, a year and a half, 2 years later, when the mentor program started, Kara, our founder, was like, oh my gosh, we have to match you and this girl. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I would love to be a mentor, and just being able to support, someone, and be that person that I knew I needed, for her, was just amazing. And our favorite thing to do was just to go walk around and window shop and get our nails done and get froyo. Because it's not really about that stuff. It's about spending time and just knowing. Like, we didn't talk about our moms all the time when we get together. It'd come up obviously, but it was more about just like knowing you have that person there for you to offer support. And I was able to help her with school and a whole bunch of life things.
Right.
So it's an amazing experience.
So besides like how we assume that it felt for her, which was probably amazing, how did it feel for you?
It's hard to describe. like I said, it just being that person that I knew I would have wanted and would have wanted to look up to, a 20-something year old that had, gone through a similar experience and just be like, what do I do? Or what did you do in this situation? Or knowing that your mom couldn't be there for your high school graduation, and just knowing that someone saying like, I get it. And so I think it just brought me so much joy, and hope, to be that person for her. And be able to just offer that sense of hope that everything is going to turn out okay. And now I say okay, like I'm okay. We always joke about that. It's relatively speaking, but really, no, I think like, just being able to provide that support to her, just it meant the world to me, being able to do that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredibly selfless.
Yes.
That's Sam. That's her.
Yeah. That's really awesome. Yeah. It's such an amazing thing to sit and think about, how you can use your time more efficiently and better. I think, there's probably plenty of people out there that, could benefit from this, on both sides of the fence, I think.
Definitely.
So, I'm really hoping that, we can help, kind of,
spread the word
and, get people
pumped to volunteer.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
such a
gosh.
cool thing.
Yeah.
So great. Thank you.
I was telling Stephanie that it's National Volunteer Week. So you guys came in like at a really good week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Such a cool thing. I mean, so just besides like, in Pittsburgh, do you guys have a lot of the volunteers like here in Southwest Pennsylvania? I mean, is there a lot going on here in this area that way?
So what we're doing right now is our Luminaria event on Mother's Day. So we do have some volunteers that are helping with that, just like the day of, kind of setting up and everything. So I'll tell you a little bit about what Luminaria is.
Yeah.
That makes
I was
sense.
going to say, yeah. Please tell us.
Okay, so Luminaria started last year outside of Boston, on the coast, on the jetty. They set up these beautiful personalized bags where you can honor or remember your loved ones. And, the big picture was this whimsical display of bags that lit up at sunset, and moms, grandmas, dads, daughters, everybody were remembered and honored in the first Luminaria. So fast forward to this year, and how I said Sam and empowerHER wanted to expand to 10 different cities, or however many different cities. We're bringing it to Pittsburgh on the Mount Washington Overlook on May 9th, and we're gonna set up the bags on the outlooks there, and we'll have volunteers that'll help us do that. And so, people can get involved here in Pittsburgh or in the PA area, anywhere really, by purchasing a bag as a donation. The bags are $25, and 100% of the proceeds go towards empowerHER to help funding for things like the events that they do and the mentorship programs. And so that's kind of how like people here can get involved if they want. I mean, donations are definitely appreciated, and that's how, we run everything and are able to help these girls. Sam.
Do they go on your website?
Yes. You can go to empowerHER.org/Luminaria, or just empowerHER.org. We'll get you there.
Okay.
Yep.
And all the information's there on how you can purchase a bag. So, we're in, like I said, 10 different cities. So you can purchase a bag in one city. You can purchase a bag. Let's say I want to honor my mom in all 10 cities. You can do that.
Cool.
Yeah, you can, buy 5 bags in one city, 1 bag in one city, however you want to you know, like if
it's really neat.
If your grandma lived in New York City, you can honor her there, or, you know, however you want to do it. So
are people, are people able to come to this event? Or since COVID, like, I don't know what the like restrictions are or whatnot, but like, say I went and I bought a bag on your website in honor of my sister, how would you would put her name down and then you guys would light it up, or would I be allowed to come and view that?
I guess like you can come.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really know.
Public. So Washington is public. So of course, like we're you know, very, very aware of the COVID guidelines and paying close attention to, you know, the state of Pennsylvania, but also the city of Pittsburgh, and respecting that and wearing masks and social distancing.
Right.
But the overlooks are public. And so if someone were to want to go and walk by and see, you know, the luminaria, you know, at dusk and see them light up, then that's possible, as long as they also adhere to, you know, the same social distancing guidelines and wearing masks and all that.
Right. Yeah, I think where we are right now, you know, if you're outside, as long as you're social distancing and wearing a mask, you can come by. So we do encourage people to come by. We want you to be able to see it, take a picture next to it, you know, like enjoy. I mean, Mount Washington up there is so beautiful at sunset. It overlooks the whole city. So we're hoping people do come by.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah, and if you can't come by, though, we do, like, once you purchase a bag, in your confirmation email, you will get a link to sake that will say, like, you know, a bag was purchased in honor or in memory. So I purchased a bag for my brother in honor of him for the city of San Francisco. And so then I'll have a picture, like a keepsake that I can send him, that it has Oracle Park, because that's where our luminaria is, where the San Francisco Giants play in San Francisco. But also after the event, there will be photos, aerial photos and videos that we will share to every bag purchaser as well. So they'll be able to see everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we're the luminaria this year is going to be in Austin, Boston, Charlotte, Chicago, Jupiter, Florida, Los Angeles, New York City, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Very cool.
So we're all over. And,
it's exciting.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. So
that's so wild. It's an amazing amazing organization. It just you know, really tugging at the heartstrings. I'm really into the whole idea. I want to see you guys succeed and just, you know, pick up 10 more cities this year.
Same.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you. We're going to get there. And it's going to be because this is going to start it off, you know, and people like you and in cities like Pittsburgh that are here to support and rally around us. That's how we are going to expand everywhere.
So can you guys tell us how people would get a hold of you guys to sign up for things, connect with you on Facebook and other social avenues?
So our website is empowerHER.org. That will take you to all the things as far as volunteering, purchasing your luminaria bags. Just, you can see a video of last year's luminaria. It'll tell you more about the organization and all the things that we do, even if Sam didn't already do that here today. And yeah, they can get a hold of us there, or we do have an Instagram. It's at luminaria_PGH. So we try to keep that as up to date as possible. You'll see on there, we are also having a silent auction as part of this event. So we have a lot of local businesses that have donated products and services to auction off for that. So that auction is going to go live a week before the event. So people will be able to bid on different items there, and all those proceeds will go, you know, to empowerHER as well. And then you can meet our committee on our Instagram and get all the facts, you know, about past events and upcoming ones as well.
It's really cool. I checked it out just to do some research, and I'm really digging what you guys are doing. I really do. It's very special.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
Really.
Yeah, the bags are also, you know, a great Mother's Day gift as well. I mean, if you don't know what to get Mom, get her a bag and come over to Mount Washington and check it out. I mean, I think it's things like that are really touching. I know my mom always loves a card more than whatever the gift is. So it's things like this that, you know, mom will remember forever.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, thank you guys for coming in, telling this story and telling us about the organization. I think it's fantastic. And like I said, continued success.
Thank you.
I'd like to see it grow so much here. Thanks. So I'm so excited for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
For sure.
I'm so grateful for your support and your time today. Thank you.
Sam, thanks for joining us on the phone, and Stephanie, thanks for coming into the studio. I appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Please go visit them at empowerHER.org, and you can figure out how to get involved, whether that is donating or volunteering or just letting somebody know who needs to know about this organization. Share this podcast. That is how they spread the word about the organization and get to people that need to know about it. If you want to purchase a Luminaria bag for the event coming up the week of Mother's Day, those proceeds go to help the events that they do throughout the year to help these young ladies cope with the loss of their mother. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I definitely did. It was very touching, and I'll be purchasing Luminaria bags, and I hope you guys do too. I'll see you next time.